Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Our OP was lucky to find a decent boss, especially when he had 3 of them. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. How my boss lost money by trying to do his job poorly. Backstory. I started to work at a local pub. That became a restaurant/pub. We got a new owner who replaced our crappy manager. Let's call him the best boss, Mike. He single-handedly built the kitchen while he managed the restaurant. He was working 7 days a week and every day 11 to 15 hours. Always a helpful, down-to-earth guy. There were 2 other owners who mainly put in the money because they had no idea how a restaurant works. They didn't even know what kind of drinks we had back when we were only a pub, and now they lost all perspective. Especially one. Let's call him Bob. Paul's not really relevant, but will be mentioned. Let me tell the bullet points of the chaos that emerged. Mike built the kitchen, thus sparing approximately $20,000 to $30,000 for the company. Bob and Paul went on a holiday when everything seemed to collapse, then blamed Mike for it. It wasn't unusual that the pub had a daily $10 to $12 max income. After Mike arrived, this number never went under $200. We, waiters, had a $2.50 per hour pay rate, but we worked 13 to 15 hours a day all alone. Really exhausting. Mike was the only one who knew the recipe for our food. Like from SpongeBob, Krabby Patty? Mike taught me how to make this food. Bob and Paul didn't pay Mike's salary. Mike complained but still did his work. Bob and Paul hired a manager for $10 an hour to replace Mike. The day of chaos. That day I should have been working in the kitchen so Mike can go to the gym, but when I got in, my colleague said I didn't have to cook since Mike was furious that Bob wanted to replace him without telling a word, essentially backstabbed him. We had a few words, then decided Mike and I will go to the gym together as the kitchen won't be open today and work out the stress and anger. Mike went home after that, and I headed back to the restaurant for a beer and a gossip about that craphead Bob. I haven't even finished my first bottle when the phone rings. Behold and wonder. It's Bob. Bob. Is Mike working? Me. No, he went home. Bob. Furiously. Why? Me. Because you went behind his back and effed him over. At this point, I can hear the scream building up, but he manages himself and says to me, Bob. Okay. Then you will go into the kitchen and you will cook instead of that idiot. Little did he know we all love that idiot. Me. No. Bob. What do you mean no? Trying not to explode. You know what? I can give you $5 an hour. Me. Really? Bob. Yes, but don't tell Mike. I'll deal with him later. Me. That's great. Then I'll go make food as long as my other colleagues also get $5 an hour. Bob. They won't. They'll get $2.50 an hour plus tips. That's more than enough. In my country, we don't have that 20% tip, so we only have tips when the guests want to give it. So it's a no-no. Me. Listen, everyone here works his or her butt off, and that $2.50 is not a logical wage. So if they don't get it as well, then the deal is off. At this point, all hell breaks loose. He's screaming in the phone, calling me names, the usual drill. I've had many rude guests, so I can just simply smile and put down the phone. About 10 minutes later, he showed up, face full red. He's stomping towards us as an angry rhino, while we slack off work and calmly smoke. We explain to him that if Mike goes, then we all go. Bob, okay, enough's enough. You dip craps are all fired. I'll close the place, hire normal waiters, and then reopen 2 weeks later. But you'll never enter my restaurant again. Come on, close it. I don't know why, but we all helped him close up. I had some fun when I hid the keys for the main doors, and without them, you have to break down the entrance. While we closed, we told him how stupid he is, how he should only look at the numbers and see that Mike is doing his job more than perfect. But no, he's living in a fantasy world. His perfect counterpoint was that Mike did not hire even one waiter, and the one Bob and Paul hired was fired by Mike. I just looked around to see that I was the only one not hired by Mike, and the other 4 waitresses were Mike's work. Also, the one guy they hired was a pothead and almost burned down the kitchen. So then we left. I shouted back when we were far enough, Good luck finding anyone for $2.50 an hour. In my country, it's slightly below minimum wage. And that's not enough to earn a living. So here we are, all of us fired. One of us was on a holiday and I had to call her that she doesn't have a job anymore. It was fun. We drank beer together and chatted for about 2 hours. Then Bob possibly saw how much he effed up because Mike called me laughing that we all should head back to the restaurant and we all have our jobs back. Also, we got a pay raise up to $4 an hour as a compensation for the crap storm we got from Bob. Turns out, as soon as we left, Bob went to Mike to fix things. They talked for 2 hours. And the most beautiful part of the story is that without Bob's intervention, we could have worked a whole summer for $250 because of Mike. And Bob would have had much more money if he could just sit on his butt and shut his mouth. And our next story. Lost my job of 6 years after standing up to my manager. Deserved to be fired for that, but was so worth it. For once, I stood up for myself and didn't let someone walk all over me. I've been working at this store for 6 years. I busted my butt, constantly came in on days off, stayed late, helped other departments. After a year, I was asked to be promoted to department manager, but I declined. I had school and they couldn't work around my hours. That was a disappointment, but they got over it. They never let me forget a spot was open, and anytime I wanted, I had the job. Last year, our old co-manager left and a new one came in, M. I don't know what I did, but M truly and earnestly hated me. From the very moment he met me, he hated me. Everything I did was wrong, and nothing could go right. He criticized me for every little thing, he insulted me, he cut my hours or scheduled me for times I had school, and refused to change them till the last minute. A month ago, a spot opened up in electronics. The old DM was finally retiring, and the entertainment zone manager wanted me to take his place as DM. Everything was going as planned. I was going to get my promotion to a department in which I truly wanted to work in. Then disaster strikes, and M writes me up for something incredibly minor. I left a ladder unattended on the floor. That's an instant write-up now, M tells me. M then walks me to personnel and writes me up. He has a faint smile on his face. You know that you can't be given a promotion with the coaching in the system, right? And that dread hits me. I just lost the chance of being promoted because of that. I ask him if there's any chance he could overlook it just this once. He frowns and tells me, nope, you're lucky you weren't fired for that. Someone could have climbed on that ladder and gotten hurt, or worse, killed. The next day, I was called into the admin office for a performance review. I was given a very poor review. M says I'm unmotivated, carefree, rude, and not putting forth any effort to do my job, and that's why I left the ladder on the floor. I left it because I don't care about the job or the customers and only care about myself. He then says they were eagerly awaiting me to be promoted, but since I've proven I could not handle being a manager, they're passing me over for a promotion. I was so mad I wanted to cry. I wanted to rage. I just gave up and accepted it. What else could I do? I told my DM and he pretty much says, you're getting screwed. I just transfer ASAP. That's a bunch of BS. Don't lay down and take it. I should have transferred, but I needed that job as the nearest store was half an hour away. Oh well. It all came to a crashing conclusion when SM gave me a huge project to do. It took me a couple of days and a ton of hours, but I got it done while the DM was on vacation. I worked hard on it, and it showed. M walks over and says, no, that's ugly. It's a mess. Everything's wrong. You clearly have no idea what you're doing. This is a complete disaster, and frankly, I'm sick of you not doing what I ask. I want you to update your career preferences. I'm moving you to cart pusher. That's the only thing I can see you doing correctly. Of course, you know you'll get your hours slashed and a $2 pay cut, right? I asked him what I did wrong, and he just says, if you don't know what you did wrong, then that's on you. I shouldn't have to baby you and guide your hand. I'm honestly shocked they hired you in the first place. Ever since I've been here, you've done nothing correctly. You can't even zone correctly. How hard is it to pull everything forward? Apparently for you, that's impossible. And to think they wanted you to be DM. You'll never be a manager, ever. Not in this store, at least. I lost hope and threw my badge down and told him to go to hell and pretty much let it rip. Called him all manner of names and then walked out. And our next story. No pool for my family members. I'll try to keep it short. I am 29-year-old female, the only one in the family with a house with a pool. This has been nice, but also a lot annoying. All the family parties were moved to my house, and I didn't have a say over this, or my parents would call me and guilt trip me. I didn't even like pools that much, and only brought this house because it's an amazing neighborhood, and it's close to my job, and because for an unknown reason the house was $45,000 under the market value. Cut to this year. During one weekend, my brother and sisters came to my house without notice and dropped 6 of my nephews and nieces, 4 to 9-year-olds, to play in the pool, and I was made involuntary babysitter for the entire afternoon. After that, I would blatantly lie about not being home and refuse to give them a copy of the keys. But I ended up feeling bad about that. After a bit of my plan, I decided the pool had to go. I searched houses in my current neighborhood but didn't find anything really attractive, so I talked a bit with a neighbor who gave me the idea to demolish the pool and just make something nice in its place. I really like the idea of having a garden since the pool takes a lot of space, and have the bonus of my taxes over my house will drop a lot. I talked to a contractor and decided a budget and a project. Everything was doing okay until this month, so the construction was put on hold. Today, I received a call from my sister-in-law wanting to talk about my nephew's birthday in August. She wanted to use my house for the party. I told her this was not possible because I was getting rid of the pool. She got really mad because I didn't warn her. After that, one of my sisters called me to know if this was real, and after a call of my parents who talked me down about my selfishness and lack of love to my family. I don't think I'm wrong, but a friend told me that I was wrong in not telling them in advance. You don't owe them pool time. It sounds like they've been walking all over you and they're mad they won't be able to now. And our last story. Go ahead and tell me. Okay. I work for a meditation and holistic wellness store. Our parking lot is very small and shares spaces with other businesses, so we've marked spots for the different businesses. On this particular morning, a gentleman parked in one of our spots and then proceeded to not come into the store or any of the other businesses we share space with. I went outside and kindly asked him to park somewhere else as there's ample parking throughout the area. He also kindly flipped me off, which I said, "If you walk away, I can have your car towed." He continued to flip me off as he walked away and said, "Yeah, okay, go right ahead." So I did. The tow company came and took his car. Needless to say, he was super pissed when he got back and his car was missing, caused quite a scene and asked why the F I towed his car, to which I replied, "You said to go ahead and tow your car. Besides, it's bad karma to steal someone else's parking space." I gave him the card for the tow company and told him to have a nice day. Happy Friday, jerkwad. LOL. I love when people think you won't do what you say you're going to do. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.